Good morning, PASW clients and staff and friends joining us. Welcome to Monday's class. Last Friday, we talked about Bud Powell, the pianist, and that was jazz. Now we're going to go to classical and talk about one of my favorite composers, one of many people's favorite composers, Tchaikovsky. And if you don't know the name, you'll know his music for sure. One of the most famous composers of the Romantic era. So late 19th century, mid to late 19th century. So that's the Romantic era. You know, the arts have the literature and painting, music. They all have their own eras, even though they overlap with each other. But in terms of romantic music, Tchaikovsky's one of the kings of it. So let's talk about Tchaikovsky before I play you some of his greatest hits. And there's way too many to play, but I do want to give you some info on him. Russian composer, okay? So, of course, he's already born depressed. He had a hard life, but which is, again, you're like, okay, tell me something. Give me artists that had happy lives. I know there's some out there. Yeah, I'm sure there are. We'll talk about happy composers in another class. But for right now, we'll talk about Tchaikovsky. And he really wasn't a prodigy, unlike Mozart and other composers that were, by age 4 or 5 or 6, they were writing music. Tchaikovsky did start taking piano lessons at 5, but it wasn't until his early 20s when he had formal training in music and orchestration. His father didn't want him to go into that. He wanted him to go into law. His mother passed away when he was 14, and so that was obviously very painful for him. So, but he grew up listening to music, but he didn't really become a composer or learning composition until his 20s. And so part of what makes Tchaikovsky so wonderful to me and to many people is, sure, it sounds pleasant, but it's got such strong emotion, and it's such a, there's technical skill and pretty orchestration for sure, but there's so many powerful melodies going on. And the melodies are melancholy, they're introspective, they're very personal sometimes. Let's play the first waltz from Sleeping Beauty, which you'll recognize. Aren't those flutes so nice right there? I love that. So I thought, if it's okay with you, I'd put some paintings in there, some Impressionism paintings. Monet, Manet, Pissarro, Renoir. So, it's cool to see the composer's face, but it's also cool to see what was happening in the Romantic era. And Tchaikovsky and Monet were actually born in 1840. They were both born in the same year. I didn't know that, but I just found out. So beautiful version from Sleeping Beauty. Tchaikovsky was known for ballets. He wrote piano concertos and symphonies and everything other composers write, but I think his ballets probably are, Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty, and The Nutcracker. Those are probably his most popular. This piece is also important because I believe it changed my dad's life. I think, and I should ask him, and he's probably going to watch this and correct me. I think he was like 9 or 10 or 11 and he heard this piece and something struck him where it was there was more music that was going to be beautiful in life, that there was music outside of the music he was just listening to. There was more to be uncovered, and I think that this really was an important piece in his life. I should ask him. One of Tchaikovsky's quotes was, truly there would be reason to go mad were it not for music. And don't you think we would go mad? You guys, I would go crazy if there wasn't music in the world. Music calms us, soothes us, it makes things that don't make sense feel a little better for us, reassures us, all these things. So, it's kind of too bad because I think he did kind of go mad a little bit, but he wrote some beautiful music. I'm going to share one of my favorite personal pieces. It's never played, and it took me 20 years to find the version of it that my parents played for me. And it's Tchaikovsky wrote 12 piano pieces, one for each month, and this is December. And Morton Gould, who was a conductor, made an arrangement for string ensemble and piano. So it wasn't Tchaikovsky's arrangement. It was his arrangement of a Tchaikovsky piano piece. And we're going to listen to December. And let's see if you enjoy this. absolutely exquisite. It makes me so happy. But that's just me. And so it's a waltz. It's 3/4, right? We heard that, and just the sensitivity in that piece. It's just in the lush melodies. I mean, he just. I want to spend all day on Tchaikovsky. There's so many other pieces that I know that you'll just do. Oh yes, I know that piece, and we'll explore more of his music. But one of the greatest composers in the Romantic era, and of composers who ever lived, Stravinsky's favorite composer, one of my favorite composers. Just gorgeous, gorgeous music. So hope you enjoyed this class on Tchaikovsky, and we'll see you tomorrow for Tuesday's class.